Hello everyone, and welcome back to the DCAF podcast. I'm your host Nigel Tommy, and I'm joined by Charles and Fuzzy. Hello. Hi. Now, we're on the 5th episode, halfway to the double digits. Kind of a special number, so I thought maybe we should talk about our enemies, more specifically Duckmany.
Alright, I mean we have mentioned them pretty much in every episode up till now.
Well, yeah, but shouldn't we, talk about our own country first?
I mean, everybody knows what the Duck Civilization is. Now, I bet most people listening to this live in it, so maybe some other time, but let's talk about our enemies, all of them. So, let's start. I thought maybe we could talk about the Penelope Empire first.
Oh, hold on, the Penelope Empire aren't our enemies.
Oh no, that is true, but they're neutral, so they can still switch sides, and
if they join Duckmany, yeah, we're fucked. Their technology is way ahead of ours, and they have incredible intelligence and spies. They basically know every move that anybody's going to make at all times. So yes, they're scary. They're an absolute powerhouse of a country thanks to them being built on top of the industrial heaven and powerhouse that was the Duck States. And all the things that Duckmany did with it in the small time that they owned those islands.
Yeah, but that's not gonna happen, right?
Well, probably not. Last time I checked, we have a pretty good relation with the Penelope Empire. But still, you never know. Right. Small Japan.
oh, well,
Yeah.
Well, I guess, the vehicles are pink?
Ah, that's something. It's bloody stupid.
also their flag is just like a pink version of the Duckman flag.
Yes. Real original. What else? Snowchester. Right, a pretty new nation.
Yes, they became independent of Duckmany after the war they had with them.
Even though they ended up losing, Duckman ended up pitying Snowchester and giving them independence anyway.
Well, they did put up a good fight.
That much is true.
Yes. I mean, just like small Japan, a lot of their vehicles are from Duckmany. Well, at least they're ground vehicles. The navy is quite extraordinary.
For a pretty young nation, they're quite the force to be reckoned with on the water.
Yes, I think they probably have a stronger navy than Duckmany.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised by that.
So, if the war starts, and, ships get involved, and, Snowchester is still on Duckmany's side by then, well, things aren't looking so great.
No, our navy is basically non-existent.
Yeah, and our enemies have two massive navies.
Well, on the plus side, at least small Japan doesn't have any boats.
Pretty strange considering they're stuck on one island, but true.
I don't know that much about the Air Force for Snowchester.
Yeah, you never hear anything about that. That's strange, isn't it? It's always like the army, there's some stuff they're obsessed with, the Puma, and they've used the Yanked Panther to great effect during their war. And of course their navy is absolutely amazing and massive and powerful. And then there's the Air Force, which, does it even exist?
No, it doesn't. That's why we don't hear anything. That Snowchester doesn't have an Air Force.
Right, that's why.
I mean, the country itself is also kinda weird.
Yeah, all tractors.
They do have some really good waffles, though.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's one thing that Snowchester can't be beaten, it's waffle making.
I would kill for enough Snowchester waffle right about now.
But yeah, besides that, kind of strange country that are really obsessed with speed and stuff, which is kind of cool, but also not very safe.
Yeah, I think the land speed record belongs to Snowchester.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's kind of slow in that country that is a land vehicle is their trains.
Yeah, but then again, it's hard to beat the Duck Civilization with railways.
Yes, because we invented them. Right, now that we've talked about the smaller ones, the allies of Duckmany, let's talk about the big bad himself. Now, Duckmany, where do we start?
Well, they weren't always Duckmany.
True. At first we're a bunch of smaller countries, if I've heard correctly.
Yeah, and they came together to form one big country, which was heavily focused on militarizing and nationalism. That kind of started ringing some alarm bells for the Duck States, so they attacked, because the Duck States was, at the time, one of the most powerful nations. In fact, maybe it was the most powerful nation, and it felt threatened by Duckmany's presence. And it was like, well, they just formed. I'm sure they're not that strong. I'm sure we can beat them.
They could in fact not beat them because they no longer exist.
Yeah, they didn't know that Duckmany had been planning this for quite some time and had built up quite the immense force.
Yes, and only the power of the Duck States and the Foxlands combined could beat them.
Well, during the Desert War, yes.
Well, I think we could have beaten them during the Duck States War if the Foxlands actually got off its lazy bum to, help its allies.
Yeah, but no, we stayed neutral. I mean, if the Duck States was losing, I don't think the Foxlands would have stood much of a chance.
Yes, yet we beat them about a few years later during the Desert War.
I suppose that's true, but I think that was mostly due to a higher focus on military, because the Foxlands basically had no military, and the military that it did have, well, as I said in the previous episode, it was shit.
Right, so that's how Duckmany came to exist, pretty much, and then they were like, look at us, we're big and strong and dangerous, because we just took out the Duck States. And guess what, Duck Civilization, you're next. And they lost the Desert War and lost the territory they had conquered during the war with the Duck States, thanks to the Penelope Empire revolting, and then Snowchester and its revolution and became independent.
Things have not been going super great for Duckmany recently, have they?
No, not really. But if anything, that's good for us.
Yeah, but I mean, the relationship between Duckmany and the Duck Civilization is interesting, to say the least.
Well, you say that, Charles, but I'm pretty sure we've always been enemies. Well, the Duck Civilization and Duckmany then. Duckmany was friends with the Foxlands. They got along. They had... Okay, well, there was some small conflicts between them, like the colour conflict, of course. But for the rest, they got along just fine.
Yeah, that's true. There was a lot of trade between them, sharing of ideas. We introduced a tank and railways to Duckmany, and then later on, Duckmany would even sell a few locomotives to us.
Yes.
Although, Duckmany did bring us the buck.
That's true, but I think that was more... I don't think that was out of generosity, that was because they lost a drag race with trains.
Well, yes, but it's the fault that counts, that they were being, that they stayed true to their promise. They could have just said, fuck you, we're not gonna do it.
Well, that wouldn't be very sporty of them. I do agree it is nice that Duckmany seems to be very fair and by the book and make sure that everybody follows the rules.
Sometimes a bit too much and it can get annoying, but yes, that is generally a good thing.
Right, now let's talk about the individual sections of Duckmany.
Right, I think it's only fair that we start with the army, of course, that's what we will be mostly dealing with. Now, their army. It's bloody stupid, isn't it? I mean, have you looked at the Duckman, things? Their vehicles are so silly. They even have a division called the Sad
That stands for 2nd Armoured Division. But I do agree that is stupid. They have bloody walkers.
Yes, why would you need walkers? They're stupid and impractical.
I don't think the set will see a lot of combat during the war.
Yes. And staying on the topic of futuristic and stupid technologies, super heavies. I wouldn't be surprised if they made up at least 50% of Duckmany's forces. Maybe even more. Meanwhile, here we at the Duck Civilization make capable tanks that don't fall through the ground.
Yes, some of the tanks are truly massive, even the one they gave us.
Yeah, the Bob might be our biggest tank.
Well, perhaps, I don't know, we have never measured it compared to some of our bigger tanks. Although I bet the Chartu seems bigger.
Longer and taller maybe. I think the Bob's more wide.
That may be true. But yeah, their army are these big lumbering giants who are stupid and won't get anywhere. Because guess what? Because they won't be able to make it through the terrain.
Well, I think they'll make it through the terrain, just not in the way they want.
Yes, they'll go through the terrain.
Then there's their air force.
Which is, well, interesting.
If interesting you mean it's good.
Yeah, not much to say really. I just don't like it.
I mean, that's fair.
There's way too many of those yellow-nosed bastards. And also, jets. Ugh. No, that simply won't do. We at the Duck Civilization use good old-fashioned propellers.
I think that's because we don't know how to make jets.
That's besides the point. My point is propellers are better. Who needs to come up with some complicated jet when you can just grab a scrapper A2 and slap some modifications to it?
Well, I mean, yeah, but that's a Duckman plane.
Exactly, they already have the perfect plane. Why do they keep building new ones?
Why do we have an aircraft designer if you think we should only make A2s?
Well, because we've studied the A2 greatly, and we're going to go and progress the technology of propeller planes. They've jumped to these unreliable jets, and don't know how to, because they think the Scrapper A2 is perfection, which it is really good, but it's not perfection.
Well, actually, speaking about propeller planes, they do have a lot of bombers.
Yes, and those are all propeller planes. Or at least most of them.
Yeah, yes, and they can carry way bigger loads than ours.
Yes, the payloads are a lot more devastating.
Yeah.
But right, let's talk about something else. What we've left.
The Navy.
Right, the Navy. Well, I was hoping we could talk about something shit, but no, the Navy's good. Really good. It beat the Duck States, and it's the second most powerful, the first being Snowchester, as we discussed earlier.
Yeah, we are fucked in a naval battle.
Yes. Some gunboats and some old rusty stuff from the Foxlands is not gonna stop the force of the Duckman Navy. No.
Of course, we can't talk about their navy without bringing up DMN Duckmany.
Right, the pride of the Navy.
A beast made of steel.
Very slowly, it's in motion.
Might be the king of the ocean.
And it probably rules the 7 seas.
Yeah, Duckmany and the Duck Navy. Remember when it got lost?
Yeah. How do you lose an entire battleship? How's that even possible?
I don't know. Well, actually I do know, because Duckmany is stupid. Here's what's gonna happen, right? We're going to get into a naval conflict with Duckmany, and we're going to win, because they're all imbeciles.
Well, I don't know about that. Although, I think we could possibly win from Duckmany.
Yes, of course we can. Why do you say that, Charles?
Because most of our force is made out of gunboats. Those are too tiny for Duckmany to hit.
Yes, but a gunboat can't do shit against Duckmany. All they'll do is scratch their paint.
I guess that's fair, but maybe with some torpedoes strapped to them.
Yes, let's slap a bunch of explosives to a gunboat. I'm sure that'll work great.
Are you suggesting kamikaze attacks?
Why not? It worked in the Color Conflict.
Anyways, so they just randomly found it again?
Yeah, that was silly. You lose an entire battleship, and then a few days later, it magically reappears. I think Duckmany was actually never lost and they just did it for attention.
It was some sick game to play with our morale. Because when we heard that Duckmany was gone, oh, we were celebrating.
Well, we not so much. Our boys at the Duck Civilisation Marine, though. Jesus Christ. I was nowhere near their base of operations and I could hear their party going on. And then when Duckmany came back, they were all in a deep, dark depression. Half of the Navy had to be fished out of the water because they tried to drown themselves.
Well, if the Navy is really that, vulnerable, maybe we should look into, like, I don't know, therapists or psychologists for the Navy?
We have. They exist. I've heard they're doing a lot better now. They actually think they have a fighting chance.
Dear God, they're becoming too powerful.
Yeah. So, to wrap things up, I think we should do a little bit of a recap of everyone. So, the Penelope Empire. If they fight against us, we're fucked. If they're fighting for us, we win. Small Japan. Hentai, I guess. Snowchester. Got the most powerful navy, a decent army, and an air force that doesn't exist.
Along with very nice waffles.
And finally, Duckmany. Their army is heavy and clunky. Their air force is trying to be way too futuristic. And their navy is stupid. That being said, thank you all for watching this episode of the DCAF podcast. As always, leave a comment down below on what topic you'd like us to cover next. Because we're already running out of topics even though we're only 5 episodes in.
Yes, so some topics or questions would be great.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. And that being said, there's a lot more we could have talked about this episode.
Yeah, like Duckmany's railways. And their obsession with massive articulated locomotives.
Yes,
Or Snowchester's really strange road rules.
that too.
Or how the Penelope Empire is filled with cryptids.
Yes, what?